Welcome to Drunk Bible Study. This show's mission is to read every single word of the greatest story ever told. A warning to our listeners, the hosts of this show are sinners, but they're doing their best. There will be drinking and there may be some swears. They did say they'd try to keep it clean, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
I'm Emily, and this is Drunk Bible Study, where my good friends Dedeker and Jase teach me, a born and raised atheist, all about the Bible. So Jase and Dedeker, how are we doing today?
Doing all right. You know, I was just thinking the other day while I was listening to an old episode of this podcast, I was thinking about maybe changing up that intro, because now that I've thought about it, I feel like we're all kind of learning together, and it's really not so much us teaching you about it, except when we're like just reminding you of things you've already read. But like
maybe just like learn with me, a born and raised atheist.
Right.
My good friends, ex-evangelical Dedeker and Jase, teach me, the born and raised atheist / learn with me about the Bible.
It really rolls off the tongue. I love it.
It's good. Yeah.
It's annoying because Dedeker, your name, sometimes it just comes out like Dedeker. Like I can't quite get it all the way out like Dedeker. Like I miss a syllable or something in there, and it's really...
It has a lot of syllables, to be fair. A lot of people make that mistake of just really kind of getting halfway through my name and then giving up.
I garble it. I'm sorry.
Even I do it, to be honest.
Really? You're like, what's my name? I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah,
it's
exactly.
Half E's. Who knows? Yeah. So, Em, this is a very exciting day. Do you remember what happened last time?
Well, I know that we are going to talk about Samson today because we were talking about him and setting him up last time. And he's actually someone that I know because of Regina Spektor. But then I also know that Jeff Goldblum sacrificed his child, his only child, because she came through a door.
Do you remember what she was carrying? Now I'm just like Bible quiz style.
Wow, like some wheat?
No, she was dancing, right? She had a tambourine.
A tambourine, yeah.
What?
Yeah. She came out because he was coming home from war, and so she was throwing a party for him.
And she was like,
"Oh no, I missed that entirely." Wow,
with the tambourine, and was like,
"Daddy, look at it," and then, "Daddy, look," and then he was like, "My name is not Philip, it's Jephthah. What is it, Jeff Goldblum?"
Jephthah.
And you're gonna die. So, and she was like, "Not like, let me have 2 months to mourn my virginity because I'm never gonna have sex." And he was like, "Sure, no problem." And then he killed her. Cool.
Yeah, that was
pretty
the story.
much. That's a great summary. Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
Emily should teach Sunday school classes. I think she could.
Oh, don't let me do that, please. Nobody would like that at all.
That is like a straight up SNL sketch. I want to see that.
Actually, that would be pretty good.
All right, fine. For that, maybe my SNL tape. Yeah, to send into them. That would be great. I love it. So what are we drinking?
Okay, so for my drink today, I'm gonna explain it to you in the form of a nursery rhyme.
Oh
no!
I was hoping it was botanical.
No. So old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch a drink for recording a Bible podcast. When she got there, the cupboard was bare. And so in a moment of desperation, she mixed together vanilla vodka and kombucha. And so I did this.
Wow.
I mixed together and I tried it and definitely made like cough syrup, like children's cough syrup. Now I squeezed some fresh lime into it. Now it's maybe the best drink I've ever had.
Really? From cough syrup to best drink you've ever had?
Lime then you add lime?
Trust me, I was skeptical also. The lime was also an act of desperation where I was like, I cannot drink this through the entire podcast. This is awful, but this is all I got. And the lime, no, it works really well. Now it's very like summery and fruity and citrusy and refreshing, and I like it.
Well, it's like vanilla and kombucha. What flavor kombucha?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
It's a rose lemonade kombucha. So also a little bit of a citrusy base.
Okay, so the vanilla is the weird part of this
vanilla
equation.
is the weird part, but with the lime, for some reason, it works out. Like, because now it's kind of like a little limey, meringue, creamy kind of situation.
Lime and the coconut sitch. Wow.
Key lime, Like a key lime pie, maybe.
Okay.
It's
all right,
it's now making me
give you
wonder if I had to like actually take cough syrup if I was sick and I put lime in it, would it make it great?
Oh yeah. Well, next time you're experimenting with cough syrup and robo-tripping and stuff, let's give it a try.
Let's not, listeners at home, don't.
Especially if you're listening with
that.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's not good.
Jase, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Top Cutter IPA, which is from the Bale Breaker Brewing Company, which is quite a mouthful to say.
Bale Breaker.
I got some of this, and it's a 6.8% alcohol by volume.
So you're gonna be doing okay.
Yeah, it definitely. When I had one the first time, I was like, okay, yeah, this hits me a little bit harder than the stuff I've been drinking lately. Not by a lot, but just a little bit harder. So we'll see if it leads to a fun episode or not.
I'm sure it will. And today I am drinking a lovely oaky Chardonnay that I got from work because they're like, we're getting rid of these. So I just got to take it, and that was cool.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
Thank you, Sun Cafe. Thank you. The perks of the trade.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by Sun Cafe. Emily's drinking today is sponsored by Sun Cafe.
Definitely is. Absolutely. All right, so what are we reading today?
All right, today we're going to actually be reading pretty much the whole story of Samson. This is Judges 14, 15, and 16. We're going to pretty much go through the whole thing, right?
But we found out he's the last judge, so what else is there?
Like I said, I think it's going to be all censuses for the rest of the book.
Joy, you all out there have fun with that. Well, we also try to have fun with it. We'll see what happens.
No, I actually don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be a bunch more little quick, shorty judges that fly by. I don't know. I have no idea. As we get started today, we want to remind our listeners to read responsibly and drink responsibly.
You can drink along with us, or you can listen while you're in the car.
But please do not do both at the same time.
And with that, Judges 14. Samson went down to Timnah.
He was looking for a soul to steal. Sorry,
Samson went down to Timnah and saw their young Philistine woman. Yeah.
What? Are you?
Hang on a second. Hold on a second. Wasn't Samson just like a baby? Didn't he like
like
get
10
born?
seconds ago?
10 seconds ago on the last episode? He was just a baby.
If you recall, though, my pitch last time was that episode would end with like a montage of him growing up. I didn't know this was going to happen this time, but I think I did kind of perfectly call that.
Awesome.
That then like the
That's
last scene is you see his like long hair from behind, and he turns around and you see it's Chris Hemsworth now that he's an adult, and now we're here. That's kind of how I pictured. Yeah.
You think it's some really swole lady, and then he turns around and it's Chris Hemsworth. It's like, well, that's fine too, by all means.
Right, we've already precast Chris Hemsworth as Samson.
No
okay,
question.
Right, I remember now. Okay, so we've gone through the montage. He's had some kind of badass song for his growing up montage.
Yeah, definitely.
And here we go. Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. He came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines.
And they were like, yeah, bored. Okay.
They're like, I'm assuming you may have seen a couple, but okay.
Colon, now therefore, get her for me as wife.
Whoa.
Yeah, just right away.
Hashtag privilege. She's just like, whatever. Mommy and daddy get me things like fun toys to play with and new wives.
Now, is that okay? That can't be okay to marry a Philistine woman, surely.
Oh, I see.
That can't be okay.
This might be controversial. Okay.
Because the Philistines are in power right now. The Philistines are ruling over the Israelites. They've conquered them.
Right. At the end of the last one, we learned that they were taken over or they were sold into the Philistines by Yahweh because they did bad in the sight of Yahweh. Okay, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then his father and his mother said to him, "You little shit."
Get your own dang wife.
Get your own dang wife. Then his father and his mother said to him, "Is there never a woman among the daughters of your brothers or among all my people that you go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?"
Oh, no. Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Okay. And Samson, he's talking back because Samson said to his father, "Get her for me, for she pleases me well."
It's like, but I like her.
But I like her, but I want her. So maybe Samson's still a teenager at this point.
You're right. I think we need to
Jeez.
cast someone else that's like the teenage Samson, and then Chris
It's like
Hemsworth
the
is
young,
in later.
the young
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Just like a petulant child at this point.
Right. It's
Unfortunately,
like kind of stamping.
I don't think any of the other Hemsworth brothers are young enough at this point to play.
No,
that. Yeah.
no.
I'm sure
Liam's
that
older.
if like a huge budget production company was tackling this film, it would be that weird thing where we like
We, like,
artificially
CG his face, yeah.
CG
Oh, gosh.
his younger version of his face onto a body double, and it's really upsetting, and no one wants it, but everyone thinks that they want it.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
And
Yeah,
it's just
Yes.
upsetting and uncanny valley. That's probably what would happen here at this day and age.
We'll do a deep
Okay.
fake of old Chris Hemsworth
Yeah,
on
exactly,
new Chris
of a young
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay, Samson said to his father, "Get her for me, for she pleases me well." But his father and his mother didn't know that it was of Yahweh, for he saw an occasion against the Philistines. Okay, so dad and mom don't know that this is Yahweh's plan all along.
I love this. Like midway through the story, the narrator kind of turns to the camera and is like, "But little did they know."
He's taking the bait.
Now, at that time, the Philistines had rule over Israel. Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnah, and came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion roared against him.
Whoa.
Oof.
Like,
It's like, oh, from a distance, I thought it was a hot lady, and actually it's a lion. Oh, no.
Wait,
I always make that mistake.
did she turn into a lion?
I don't think so.
Okay,
but
she just
let's-
he happened to see a lion. Okay,
Let's
okay,
find
cool.
out. A lion was roaring against him. The spirit of Yahweh came mightily on him, and he tore him as he would have torn a kid. And he
Oh,
had nothing
boy.
in his hand, but he didn't tell his father or his mother what he had done. So with his bare hands, he killed a lion,
whoa.
but kept it a secret.
Why? I would be telling everyone. I mean,
Would you-
I
wait,
wouldn't.
Emily,
I
Emily,
wouldn't
would
because
you
I'm
really?
vegan.
You would not. You'd be still crying over the corpse of that lion.
Yes,
That's
you're
true.
right. If I were him, I would maybe be telling everyone, but if I were me, I would never be in that situation. So
No, but-
here we are.
but really though, if a lion suddenly came out of nowhere and was like gonna kill you, what would you do?
I suppose I'd have to do something about it. I would defend myself and then try to run and probably die because I can't outrun a lion.
Well, but
That's actually
what
what
if-
would happen.
what if you had a weapon or a gun or something? You were able to kill the lion in
I would never
self-defense.
have a
Then what would you
gun.
do? Would you tell
I-
everybody?
No, I would tell no one, and it would go to I would probably have to tell a couple people, but I would cry myself to sleep for the rest of my life.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, well
But
maybe that's
Samson
how
didn't-
Samson feels.
Maybe I doubt it, but
Oh,
yes,
maybe he was
maybe.
ashamed. That's why he didn't share it.
Does a lion count as lion's got to count as an unclean animal, right?
Oh.
Did they
Probably,
go
because
over
it
that?
doesn't
Maybe?
have cloven hooves, so I think that makes it.
Yeah, and you're probably not suggested to eat a lion, so I think that counts as unclean.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
He went down and talked with a woman, and she pleased Samson well. Whatever that means. So
I think it
still-
just
he's
means
still-
she looked good. Come on now.
she still looked good. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
So he's still on time to get to his first date with this lady, at least. Okay. After a while, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees in the body of the lion. And honey.
bees.
Yeah, you read that correctly. I mean, you heard that correctly.
I
read
did
it
not
correctly.
read it.
And honey, he took it into his hands and went on, eating as he went. And he came to his father and mother and gave to them, and they ate. But he didn't tell them that he had taken the honey out of the body of the lion. Oof.
Wait,
This
I'm,
is like
I'm so this is so
several-
weird.
Ew! Wait a minute! The bees were creating honey in the lion.
Like they made a hive inside the lion.
Yeah, I also didn't totally understand that at first. Okay, this is super weird.
This is very not vegan on many levels.
You're right.
No.
It's like it's
No,
like
it's not.
The turducken of honey.
Oh, the turducken of non-vegan actions. Yeah. So he takes the honey out of the lion, gives it to his mother and father. They eat it, but he was kind of a unsavory move of not telling them, oh, by the way, this is dead lion carcass honey.
Okay. Okay. Where is this going? This is super weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Gross.
Continue.
Okay.
And probably he's bragging about it now. Maybe he's like, "Hey,
Jase,
I just
do you
killed
remember
that."
this? Do you remember this story from Sunday school? Because I do.
I don't remember this part. No.
No,
I'm waiting for
being
the
taught
reveal
this
to
part.
be like, and then he came down from his hallucinogen trip and realized, you know.
Yeah. Well, those were some crazy mushrooms.
Realized that he
man.
actually was, eating some donkey poo out of a bush.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His father went down to the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. God, this
What?
translation.
Oh yeah. So used to the young men's to do.
So used to the young men to do. So he made a feast because that's what the young men did.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
When you're trying
when
to
your
charm
dad
a lady.
when your dad helped you charm a lady.
Right.
It happened when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. Samson said to them, "Let me now put forth a riddle to you.
Oh.
If you can declare it to me within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. But if you can't declare it to me, then shall you give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing."
Sounds like this
So I
guy's
feel
going to
like
get a lot of clothes.
Yeah. I feel like Samson's also like super wealthy. Like I'm just getting that vibe from him. Like he's grown up really with a lot.
It does seem that way,
Some
yeah.
privilege, maybe.
Yeah, for sure, for
That
sure.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
He's expecting his daddy to get everything for him, even a woman. Yeah.
Okay. They said to him, "Put forth your riddle, that we may hear it." He said to them, "Out of the eater came forth food. Out of the strong came forth sweetness." Now, I have to say that when I was growing up in the NIV version, this riddle was actually translated to rhyme.
I've got it. I've got it pulled up here if you want it.
What is it? What
Read
is
it to us.
Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet.
Okay.
Emily is so not impressed. They couldn't in 3 days declare the riddle. Oh, he gave it. Okay, they have 7 days till the end of the feast, right? And so 3 days
I see.
there's everyone's still stumped of what this riddle might be.
I mean, is it just honey?
I think
I mean, he didn't tell anyone about what happened, right? So
No.
Honeycomb?
No,
Okay.
no. I think the answer, the very obscure answer to the riddle is: I killed a lion, came back, there were bees inside of it, and I took honey outside of the lion's carcass and ate it. And that's
clearly.
clearly the answer
That makes
to the
a
riddle.
lot of sense.
Yeah. Is this I'm assuming this is one of those things where they all get to ask yes or no questions. You know, like those lateral thinking
Oh,
puzzles.
yeah, maybe.
Oh, it's like it's a 20
Maybe.
questions.
Like
type of
is
thing
it bigger
here.
than a bread box? Or
Like, it's an icicle. It was an icicle. You killed him with an icicle.
Right.
That's
Dedeker
always what
says
it
an
is.
icicle's always the answer.
Okay. So 3 days in, they can't figure it out. It happened on the 7th day that they said to Samson's wife, "Entice
What?
your..." What? What?
Yeah,
Why are you...
Wait, did they got married? They got done
Yeah,
married?
they're having a feast.
Oh.
That's
Okay,
the feast
yeah.
of them getting
I
married.
missed that. Sorry,
Yeah,
I missed that.
I also missed that. Okay, they did
Okay.
get married and now we're feasting. Okay.
We're
got it.
feasting about it, yeah. It happened on the 7th day that they said to Samson's wife, "Entice your husband that he may declare to us the riddle."
On which day?
On the
7th.
I'm going to read the verse again, Jase.
Yeah.
It happened on the 7th day that they said to Samson's wife.
Well, here's why I'm stopping you. Because I pulled up some other translations and all of them say the 4th day.
Random.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm super confused here. We're
That
on
is
like
confusing.
verse 14 to 15 here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the message says on the 4th day they said to Samson's bride. NIV says on the 4th day they said to Samson's wife.
Okay, well, it's a conspiracy then. I gotcha.
Oh, but
Okay.
but the complete Jewish Bible also says the 7th day.
Oh, okay. Well,
Weird.
Maybe they're interchangeable. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It happened on the 7th day, maybe the 4th day, who knows, that they said to Samson's wife, entice your husband that he may declare to us the riddle, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Calm down.
Yeah, seriously.
She should have been like, no, bro, lest I murder you.
They keep going. Have you called us to impoverish us? Is it not so? So I guess they're feeling like if we have to give up 30 changes of clothing and 30 linen garments, like we can't afford that.
That is a lot. Yeah.
And
I say, yeah.
that's a lot, even though it's 30 people. So you'd think that split all those ways, but maybe it's still expensive probably to come up with a pair of clothes that's not the pair of clothes you already have on your back.
Oh, I see. This is collectively. I thought it was each of them. Like if they win, he has to give everyone who got it right 30 things, but maybe it is all together.
I think it's all together.
Okay,
yeah.
that makes more sense.
Okay, so they go and basically threaten her.
Right.
They threaten her.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to burn you and your father's house with fire. Okay. Samson's wife wept before him and said, you do but hate me and don't love me. You have put forth a riddle to the children of my people and haven't told it me. He said to her, behold, I haven't told it my father nor my mother, and shall I tell you? She wept before him the 7 days.
No, you shouldn't.
She wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted, and it happened on the 7th day that he told her, because she pressed him sore, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. Yeah, because she was freaking terrified.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I get
weird.
that, but it would have been really awkward to just like have a 7-day feast and have her like crying next to you the
That's
entire
true.
7 days. Super
Yeah.
awkward, but you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
The men of the city said to him on the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? He said to them, if you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have found out my riddle. What a saying.
Wow. I'm offended on many levels.
You're offended for the sake of Samson's wife.
Yeah, I'm offended on her behalf right now because, okay, first of all, they threatened her. They didn't plow her, wink, wink, if you know what I mean. Also calling her your heifer. That's messed up, dude. Okay, let's just move on.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of
let's
good
keep going.
something. He's the hero, right?
He is the hero, but you know what heroes do in this book?
Well,
They get their hair cut off.
Not yet, Emily. Don't jump the gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a weird conclusion to this story. And so they cut off Samson's hair. Okay. The Spirit of Yahweh came mightily on him, and he went down to Ashkelon and struck 30 men of them and took their spoil and gave the changes of clothing to those who declared the riddle. So he went and killed 30 dudes.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
And gave that to the people who won it. That is messed up.
What
Yikes.
Yeah. What? I'm so confused right now. He went to some other random place, killed 30 dudes, and took their clothes and gave it to these guys?
Wow.
That's messed up.
His anger was kindled, clearly, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as his friend.
What?
Yeah, Jase, can you...
What? Wait, and she gone?
That's the end of the chapter. So that's the end of that story.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Wow.
Jase, can you look up the message? I'm curious about Samson's wife being given away.
I see.
That's a curious detail that I didn't recall from my Sunday school tellings.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember the riddle now of the honey inside the lion vaguely from
Did we
Sunday
find
school.
out what it was?
What do you mean?
What the
It was-
answer was?
It was honey. It came out of a lion.
Well, that's what I said.
No, I know
This
you
is-
were right. You
You're
nailed
correct.
it.
Cool.
You got it.
Cool.
But I think it's both
cool.
It's both parts because they come and they say to him, "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" So it's like they guess both parts. Of
I
it.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that now.
Now
I get it. Okay.
they did not even have a chance to go on and be like, "Dude, you ate honey out of a lion? That's gross and messed
Ew,
up."
bro, what
Because
the
he was so
heck?
angry and cut them off before they could really even have that discourse.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So here's what I got. So basically, from the message, I'm picking up that he went down to Ashkelon, killed 30 dudes, stripped them, and gave their clothing to those who had solved the riddle because he was a psychopath. Stalking out, smoking with anger, he went home to his father's house. Samson's bride became the wife of the best man at his wedding.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
so
That's
specific.
incredibly awkward.
So I think that, okay, a couple of thoughts that came up. One is, I know there's kind of that old like joke about the fact that at a wedding, basically all the men are dressed the same. So it's like if something happens to the groom, you just like shuffle over one place and then the next one gets married.
Oh, cute.
So, like,
is that the joke? Is that the custom of your people, Jase?
that is a joke that I have heard. It was in a movie or something.
The men people?
The men people, yeah. I don't know. There was a joke about it in some movie that I watched. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, this is it's kind of like the idea of if you die that your brother would then marry your wife, that maybe it was a similar situation of like he storms out of the wedding and it's like, well, we all agreed to a wedding, so like someone's got to do it. And one of his buddies was like,
okay.
okay,
For a lot here.
all right.
So I'm trying to get ahead of and like predict what the apologists for Samson are going to say about this. And I suspect that this was all part of Yahweh's plan to get him to actually not marry the Philistine woman.
Oh.
Okay.
To the unfortunate detriment of these random 30 dudes who got killed. But that's what you do when you try to go over Yahweh's head and marry a Philistine lady when he says that that's no good.
I just did a quick Google search for, excuse the language here, why is Samson an asshole? And the top result that came back is, why did Samson use a jawbone?
What?
No, we're going to get to that.
Is-
spoilers,
okay. Yeah,
Jase. That's
okay.
spoilers.
Sorry.
Thank you, because yikes, what?
No, that we should keep reading.
Here we go. Judges 15. But it happened, after a while, in the time of wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife. I'm assuming not actually his wife, but that woman who would have been his wife.
Is it? Or did he get a new
For a hot
wife?
second.
Okay.
His ex-wife. His old wife.
His almost
his
wife.
wife 1.0.
Okay, but it happened after a while in the time of wheat harvest that Samson visited his wife with a kid, meaning a goat, I'm assuming. And he said, I will go into my wife in the chamber. But her father wouldn't allow him to go in. There's so many levels of awkward happening right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the phrasing is all that
yeah,
I'm going to say.
seriously. So if it is his ex-wife, do you think it's like it is his ex-wife and he's going to visit her and he's like, hey, technically we got married, so I should get to bang you when I want.
And her dad is like, no, don't. Verse 2. Her father said, I most assuredly thought that you had utterly hated her. Therefore, I gave her to your companion. Isn't her younger sister more beautiful than she? Please, take her instead. Okay, think a little bit about casting for this father while I go on. Samson said to them, this time shall I... What's Chris Hemsworth's voice sound like? It's just kind of generic.
Dedeker's in Australia. She can tell us.
Is he Australian? I don't know anything about any of this. So he's like, good eye.
All right.
This time.
Samson...
I'm a boy from Australia.
Okay.
Good job, Emily. Best
was
Australian
great.
accent I've ever heard in my lifetime.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Samson said to them, this time shall I be blameless in regard to the Philistines and undo them a mischief.
No. I cannot. I'm sorry. I cannot. I know that the story of Samson is not very long, but I cannot abide the entire story of Samson with that accent. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to channel Chris Hemsworth doing an American accent. Samson said to them, this time shall I be blameless in regard of the Philistines when I do them a mischief. Samson went and caught 300 foxes.
Whoa.
That is no small feat.
How do you even catch one fox? What?
Samson went and caught 300 foxes. I'm assuming this took a while.
What? Wait, 300 foxes?
300 foxes. Okay. And took firebrands. What's a firebrand? Does anyone know?
A brand with fire on it?
Yeah, I'm like, is it a thing for branding or is it a totally different thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
A burning piece of wood is what Google tells me. burning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Now try to follow this sentence with me because I've read it a couple of times already and I don't understand it. Samson went and caught 300 foxes and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst between every two tails.
Of the foxes?
I remember this story. I remember this story. Yes, he tied their tails together and essentially made it so that they're dragging along something burning so that they set everything on fire.
Oh, I see. He didn't kill these foxes. They're alive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's still animal cruelty.
Oh, yeah, very much. Okay. So then he put a firebrand, so like a burning piece of wood, in the midst between every two tails.
Okay. I'm sorry. I need to stop this again because I just have so many questions. Because he caught 300. Where was he storing these foxes? How was he containing these foxes?
We've established he must be very wealthy, right?
Yes.
So he keeps them in his conservatory.
Sweet.
His fox conservatory. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's cute.
So it seems like he's then tied their tails together somehow, and in between those put a firebrand, because it's a firebrand in the midst between every two tails. When he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing grain of the Philistines and burnt up both the shocks and the standing grain and also the olive groves.
So, he just burnt everything.
He just
and
destroyed
so he's like,
everything.
This is what
That's
happens
awful.
when you don't let me have sex with whoever I want to have sex with.
Jeez, I'm liking Samson less and less. I feel like we need to have somebody that's not even as like well liked as Chris Hemsworth, or maybe this is a good role for him to like stretch his boundaries. I don't know.
No,
it's
I think
true.
it'll be good.
We've not really seen Chris Hemsworth as a little bit of an anti-hero,
That's true.
ambiguous morality kind of boy.
I don't even know if I would call this guy anti-hero. He's just like a bad boy, bad boy.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Did either of you watch The Boys, that Amazon series?
Yes, I did. I did see it.
The guy who plays the like Chris Hemsworth-esque kind of character, Captain America. No, what's his name?
That
guy.
Yeah.
I'd say he's like our backup choice if Chris Hemsworth can't handle the like gravity of this, like the being the anti-hero.
He would
that
be
guy,
good. Yeah, he would be good.
He'd be a good backup for this. Okay.
That's true. That's very true. Okay.
All right. Then the Philistines said, "Who has done this?" They said, "Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite."
This guy. Who else?
Like, who do you think has enough time to sit around catching foxes, tying them together?
Yeah. Because he has taken a wife and given her to his companion. I'm assuming the he here is the father of the wife, I guess. Anyway, the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh!
What a terrible time to be alive! What is going on? What is wrong with these people?
You're absolutely right. Thank you. You're absolutely right. This is awful.
Okay.
What did she do? She did nothing to deserve this.
But so many of these women did do nothing. They didn't do anything, and yet, okay.
Oh boy. Okay, this is nuts. All right. Samson said to them, "If you do after this manner, surely I will be avenged of you, and after that I will cease." He struck them hip and thigh with a great slaughter, and he went down and lived in the cleft of the rock at Etam.
So he just like killed all of them? What does the message say? I'm sorry, this is just like the recurring theme of this show is consulting with the message. I wish we could read the message straight through, but we can't. But
okay, here we go. Here's the message version. The Philistines said, "Who did this?" They were told, "Samson, son-in-law of the Timnite, who took his bride and gave her to his best man." The Philistines went up and burned both her and her father to death. Samson then said, "If this is the way you're going to act, I swear I'll get even with you. And I'm not quitting till the job's done." This is the worst script ever. We're not hiring this translator to write our script.
No.
Who is this man?
With that, he tore into them, ripping them limb from limb, a huge slaughter.
Jeez.
Then he went down and stayed in a cave at Etam Rock.
Yeah, because you just... I'm sorry. He's such a cuckoo.
He's
such a cuckoo.
pretty intense. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Ooh, was that the end of that chapter?
No, we're only 8 verses in.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
What?
my
Keep going.
God.
Good Lord.
I'm already exhausted.
Me too.
This is so action-packed.
We've done an entire freaking thing already. Goodness. Okay.
Okay. Then, so he's down in the cave, in the cleft of the rock, right? Okay. Then the Philistines went up and encamped in Judah and spread themselves in Lehi. Now, something that I noticed actually just looking at the Message translation is that Lehi, this place where they're staying, means jawbone. Just keep that in the back of your mind, because that's going to come up, I think.
Okay.
The men of Judah said, "Why are you come up against us?" They said, "To bind Samson are we come up, to do to him as he has done to us." Then the 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cleft of the rock at Etam and said to Samson, "Don't you know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is this that you've done to us?" He said to them, "As they did to me, so have I done to them." They said to him, "We have come down to bind you, that we may deliver you into the hand of the Philistines."
Are they all Jeff Goldblum?
They're all
what was that about?
They're all related to Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Samson said to them, "Swear to me that you will not fall on me yourselves." They spoke to him, saying, "No, but but we will bind you fast and deliver you into their hand, but surely we will not kill you." They bound him with 2 new ropes, brand new, and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lehi, which means jawbone, the Philistines shouted as they met him, and the Spirit of Yahweh came mightily on him, and the ropes that were on his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands dropped from off his hands. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, and put forth his hand, and took it, and struck 1,000 men therewith. This just got super intense. Samson said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps on heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey.
He is Australian.
I have struck 1,000 men." Heaps and heaps.
It's like I killed heaps of men.
Right?
Jeez.
The jawbone of a donkey, heaps on heaps. The jawbone of a donkey, I've struck 1,000 men.
That's a very strange thing to use to kill thousands of men, but I'm just saying. But
well,
you know.
if you're bound up and you don't have a weapon on you, that's probably the best thing you got, really.
But he burned them off of him with his body energy, bro.
Whoa.
With
so
his
intense.
Yahweh body energy.
Yeah. Okay. It happened when he had made an end of speaking that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand, and that place was called Ramath Lehi.
Which
I'm assuming means jawbone of killing, because it used to be called Lehi, which meant jawbone. And now it's
now it means seriously jawbone. That was messed up.
Right. It means Jawbone Hill. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great.
I'm going to call this place Jawbone Hill. He was very thirsty and called on Yahweh.
This guy.
Called on Yahweh now and said, "You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant, and now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised?" But
which is the worst thing ever.
He's so spoiled.
he really is.
Oh, for sure.
But God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, and water came out of it. You know that.
Oh.
We all know that place.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Therefore, the name of it was called En Hakore, which is in Lehi to this day. He judged,
okay, so it's even a new named place even within Lehi. There's just so many names.
Yeah, seriously. Caller's Spring is what that one means. One who calls, it's their spring.
Okay.
He judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. That's the end of the chapter.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
This is so intense.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was a lot.
goodness.
I did not expect any of that, honestly.
Okay, we have
But here we are.
We have one last chapter in this episode, and I can't
I'm sure it's
imagine where
also
this is
going to be
gonna go.
bonkers.
But before we get to that, we want to take a quick moment to talk about how you can support this show to help us keep this going and hopefully get through this Bible a little bit faster.
So now we're on to Judges 16 and more with the story of Samson. So Samson went to Gaza and saw there a prostitute and went into her.
Oh,
Meaning,
yeah, we know what
Just,
that
know.
just right on in.
Yes.
right on in. I'm assuming this is Delilah, but okay, which is surprising to me, but let's keep continuing. I don't know. It was told the Gazites saying, Samson is come here. Who wrote this? Okay. They compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, let be until morning light, then we kill him.
Yeah.
All right. So these guys are waiting. Yeah. Samson lay until midnight and arose at midnight and laid hold of the doors of the gate of the city and the two posts and plucked them up, bar and all, and put them in on his shoulders and carried them up to the top of the mountain that is before Hebron. Wait, what?
Hold
So
on.
he just rips up the gates of the city and carries
he's
them
like,
on his
yo.
shoulders.
Just like, bye.
Okay. So the Regina Spektor song essentially like gives this idea that he can do this, that he's able to with his long hair, able to like grab huge things and take them places.
What's the lyric
Hold
that
on.
says that?
Hold on.
Like he had a slice
Well,
of Wonder Bread and picked up huge things and carried them. Like what?
No,
What is
but it
the
said,
lyric?
well, the lyric after he gets his hair cut off is that he couldn't bring the columns down. He couldn't destroy a single one. And so I'm assuming before that he could. And so here it is.
Got it.
The way that the story was always taught to me that was that like Yahweh was essentially giving Samson divine strength. He is a very, very strong boy, a very, very muscly boy. And that was also attached to his hair because his hair was kind of attached to his oath to Yahweh. But I really like this idea of like, it's not strength. It's just the ability to grab large things and take them elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that's strength. But yeah, it just...
Right.
I do like that, but that's very interesting.
But think about it. The power of strength, it could be the power to win a bunch of arm wrestling matches. It could be the power to like push a semi-truck all the way up a hill.
What does strength actually mean?
It's like only the strength to grab things and carry them elsewhere. If you're trying to do anything else with your muscles, too bad.
Sorry, not going to happen.
Well, and the strength to kill 1,000 people with a donkey's
That's
jawbone,
true.
So
That's true.
And I guess the strength to catch 300 foxes. I don't know. That just feels like
they're just these are random strong things to be able to do it all. Just that he's even carrying them up to Hebron. So
but he does seem to have superpowers, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Hence our casting of Chris Hemsworth.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Because he is a superpowered man.
Yeah.
It came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah.
I gotta say, Samson's probably the horniest Bible character that we've run into so far.
He's had a lot of women in his life. Although I'm not gonna say the horniest because some of these men have 70 kids.
Sure. Okay, yes. However, but like this is the most where you've gotten like the most like distinct individual stories of him falling in love with that lady, going to see this prostitute, falling in love with another lady, wanting to have sex with his ex-wife. Like it's a much more sex-focused story than I think we've gotten in quite a while.
Yeah, I suppose.
Can I also point out? This whole story that Emily just told us amounted to nothing, right? He goes to see a prostitute, all the men surround him, and then he comes out and like rips up the posts and walks away, and everyone's like, whoa.
Well, I'm sure they saw that and they were like, you know what? We're not going to touch that. We're not going to go there even a little bit.
Exactly.
But you're right. It didn't go anywhere. That was pretty funny.
So now totally different story. Here he meets
Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up to her and said to her, entice him and see in which his great strength lies, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will each give you of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Whoa.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's a ton.
Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me, please, in which your great strength lies, and with which you might be bound to afflict you." Ooh, who should we cast as Delilah?
I know, it's going to affect the
very
reading.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
well,
Who's
I
on
mean,
the
it's
list? Who's on the list? Lady Gaga, no. Keanu Reeves, no.
fine. I mean, I would.
We have
I
a
love
lot of
that.
men on this list.
We do. I
Olivia
know.
Yeah, we
Wilde.
gotta
I
get
like
some more
Olivia
later.
Wilde.
Ooh, I do like that too. Yeah,
I like her
Okay.
as Delilah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can you kind of embody her energy while
see
you
what I can
read
do.
this? Okay.
Okay. Samson said to her, "If they bind me with 7 green cords that were never dried, then I shall become weak and be as another man. Then the lords of the okay, so that's bullshit, obviously. Yeah. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green cords which had not been dried, and she bound him with them." And I guess he was like, "Is this some kinky thing that we're doing right now? I don't know."
Uh-huh.
Now she had liars in wait abiding in the inner chamber. She said to him, "The Philistines are on you, Samson." He broke the cords, obviously, as a string of tow is broken when it touches the fire. So his strength was not known. Delilah said to Samson, "Behold, you have mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, please, with which you might be bound."
Okay,
Wait,
hang on.
I am sorry.
Before you keep going.
Yes.
Couple things. One of them being, from this story growing up, I always remember thinking as a kid, I was like, wouldn't Samson get wise to this? That it's like,
Yeah.
Well,
the only person, you tell her this very specific
Totally.
thing that's a lie. Big coincidence, you happen to find yourself bound in the thing that you told her was not going to hold you. And then she comes to you again and is like, "You lied to me. What is it actually?" I'm like, wouldn't that immediately set you off of like, "Oh, I think this woman's trying to set me up." Okay, that's thought number one. Thought number
Yes.
2, if I take it in a very different direction, is this some kind of kinky role play thing that they're really into?
I think a little bit.
You know, that they're
Yeah.
going to pretend that the Philistines are on him and he's tied up and, oh no, what's going to happen? What are the Philistines going to do to you, Samson? Oh,
I mean, that's funny. She's like the dominant one in this scenario, which is kind of fun. Yeah. All right. So he said to her, "If they only bind me with new ropes, which no work has been done, then I shall become weak and be as another man." So Delilah took new ropes and bound him therewithin, and said to him, "The Philistines are on you, Samson. The liars in wait are abiding in the inner chamber." He broke them off his arms like a thread. Delilah said to Samson, "Hitherto you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me with which you might be bound." He said to her, "If you weave the 7 locks of my head with the web." What?
Huh? What?
I don't know.
The message says the loom. Maybe this is just a weird
Okay.
translation of a loom. I don't know. That's very strange.
So, yeah, if you weave the 7 locks of my head with the web, she fastened it with a pin and said to him, "The Philistines are on you, Samson." He awakened out of his sleep and plucked away the pin of the beam and the web.
Okay, hold on. So, Jase, you said the web means the loom. So, as in, he told her this bonkers answer, which was, if you weave my hair into your loom, then I can't escape. And so she like wove his hair into the loom.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, whatever.
Okay.
Can
Can we pause for just a moment? Because, this is bonkers now.
Yes.
She's done this several times, and he keeps just like giving
It's
her
probably
these...
getting him all, as you said, getting him all hot and bothered.
Yeah, I mean, it must be that he knows...
Well, because nothing seems to come of it, is that he breaks out.
Right.
It doesn't say, does he escape? Does he kill all the Philistines? Does he, like, what happens? Like, he doesn't...
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's
so
more
that
just...
does lead me to wonder. I'm like, is it a role play thing? But then at the last, I
They're
don't
just-
know. That's
Yeah.
going off the rails. I can't keep that together. I don't know. It's nuts.
You're right, because they're not actually attacking him. She's just telling him. It's like a
just
fun
telling
game
him.
they've got going on, and he's just messing
Yeah.
with her.
It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she said to him, "How can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times and have not told me in which your great strength lies." It happened when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him that his soul was vexed to death. I don't know what that means. I
You don't know what that
means.
means? I felt what that means. I know what it feels like to have your soul vexed to death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just they're
well-
bugging you till your soul just dies.
And he's like, "Ah." He told her with all his heart, he said to her, "No razor has ever come on my head, for I have been to a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaved, then my strength will go from me, and I will become weak and be like any other man." Why would he tell her this?
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea.
Stupid.
Well, she kind of used some emotional blackmail, I suppose.
I guess, yeah.
I guess. She's like, "But you love me, come on." So when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, "Come up this once, for he has told me all his heart." Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought the money in their hand. She made him sleep on her knees and called for a man and shaved off the 7 locks of his head. What? There's only 7 locks?
The message says 7 braids. It seems like he's got it kind of parted into 7 sections somehow.
Okay, and she's like shaving him off. Okay. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. Oh. She said, "The Philistines are on you, Samson." He awoke out of his sleep and said, "I will go out as other times and shake myself free." But he didn't know that Yahweh had departed from him. Oh, yikes.
Yeah,
I guess he had it coming. You know what? He had it coming.
He does deserve this, yeah.
Yeah. The Philistines laid hold on him and put out his eyes. Whoa! And they brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass. And he did grind in the prison house.
That's a weird thing to say.
That is a very weird thing to say. What do you think they actually mean to say?
He was having a rough time in the big house.
The big house.
In the
big house.
Yeah, I think maybe they're putting him to work, making him, hit the grind.
Okay. All right.
So, however, the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaved.
Oh, that's weird that hair does that. Huh.
Yeah, I know. Wow, weird. The lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to rejoice. For they said, "Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hand." When the people saw him, they praised their God, and they said, "Our God has delivered into our hand our enemy, and the destroyer of our country who has slain many of us." It happened when their hearts were merry that they said, "Call for Samson that he may make us sport." They called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made a sport before them. They set him between the pillars.
What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're about to find out. They set him between the pillars, and Samson said to the boy who held him by the hand, "Allow me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house rests, that I may lean on them." Now, the house was full of men and women.
Because he's blind. He's blind right now because they put out his eyes, so he's asking him to put my hand on this.
Okay. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were on the roof about 3,000 men and women who saw while Samson made sport. That's a lot of people on this frickin' roof. I hope it can hold them up. Samson called to Yahweh and said, "Lord Yahweh, remember me, please, and strengthen me, please. Only this once, God, that I may be once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested and leaned on them, the one with his right hand and the other with his left. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." He bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell on the lords and all of the people that were therein. Whoa. So the dead that he killed at his death were more than those who he killed in his life.
Jeez.
Then his brothers and all the house, let me just finish this. His brothers and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the burying place of Manoah, his father. He judged Israel 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
That was a crazy story. I'm sorry. Wow. Goodness.
Now, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judges is bonkers.
Judges is so good. I love it. I love Judges. This is official. I'm going to say it's official. Judges so far is my favorite book of the Bible, just as a book.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
right?
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I could agree with that.
Action-packed, a lot of different stories. Now, how my Sunday school teachers ever read this story and went, yeah, there are some good lessons for kids in this. How that ever crossed their minds, I do not understand.
That is true. I was kind of puzzling over that myself. And I don't know. I mean, I think that this is a story that gets taught to kids because it is one of the more exciting stories and has some of the more interesting imagery of all the stories that we've read so far. I think
did they teach kids that he is such an asshole?
No.
They did. I feel like, if I recall correctly from the fuzzy annals of time and my memories of Sunday school and Christian school and stuff like that, I think the moral of the story, at least what I recall, was kind of this sense of like, yeah, Samson kind of was an asshole. He tried to marry a Philistine. He really wasn't supposed to. So like that sucks. But plus side, he did kill a lot of Philistines, and also he kind of has this like tragic, heroic, poetic end in that like he kind of gets what's coming to him because he gets his eyes put out, he loses his strength, he gets captured by the Philistines, and like that's kind of his punishment for going against Yahweh. But it's okay because he killed a lot of Philistines, you guys.
Well, I know. See, that's the weird part about this is like the only way that this story still ends up with him being heroic is just if you're like, but he killed Philistines, am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's not surprising based on the stories we've gotten so far.
No. It is definitely a lot more violent and intense than I remembered the story of Samson being.
Yeah, and like
that was a lot. I'm surprised at that story. I did not expect it to go like that. You know, the song is very sweet and catchy and lovely to listen to, and that's not what happened. It was not lovely. Not at all.
Something that I want to do in the bonus episode too is I want to talk a little bit about the old Samson and Delilah movie from like the 50s, I think. I found all of it's on YouTube. So we might look at a little bit of that, or I'll just have you two watch some clips and we can talk about it. But it's a very different portrayal than I would have cast just based on reading this story now. So I'm curious to look at that a little bit.
Well, definitely something I want to look up for the bonus content is that this story of Samson and Delilah is, for some reason, very culturally significant. And, shows up a lot in a lot of different places, and it feels like there's not that much story there, really, other than the fact that like they both clearly did not trust each other. They both were lying to each other, even though they loved each other, quote unquote, claimed to love each other. So maybe there's something about that that is kind of intriguing. That it's like we, at least so far in the Bible, we've not gotten a lot of stories that are really about what happens in a relationship between two people. So far, it's just been kind of like they married this person, they went into them. It was great. Jacob loved Rachel because she was hot and didn't love Rachel or Leah because she wasn't hot. We don't really get a lot of stories that are about kind of the discourse between the two people in the relationship. So maybe that's the reason why that stands out. I don't know.
It's interesting that like things are written about just that small one chapter, you know, in the Bible, and that out of all of the things in the Bible that I knew that story. I know more, other stories as well, but that one was one of them. So I wonder what that is.
Yeah,
what
I want to look into that of like why it was culturally that we all kind of latched onto that story,
right?
And how that's affected us.
We'll see if we're just doomed to like 2 more episodes of censuses or what. But we've only got 2 more episodes left of this book, so we'll see.
We'll find out.
Thank you for joining us for Bible study today. If you want even more Drunk Bible Study, including ad-free episodes, early releases, personal toasts on the show, and more, become one of our patrons at patreon.com/drunkbiblestudy. If you enjoy the show, take a moment to subscribe and then write us a nice review on iTunes or Stitcher, letting other people know what you like about it. You can also join fellow listeners in the Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship Facebook group. Find us on Twitter at Drunk Bible Cast, on Instagram at Drunk Bible Study, or send us an email to info@drunkbiblestudy.com. Drunk Bible Study is created and produced by Emily Matlak, Dedeker Winston, and me, Jase Lindgren. Our theme song is Book Club by Josh and Anand from their album Home of the. The theme song for the Book of Judges is The People Dread Judges by Jase Lindgren featuring Emily Matlak. For more information, visit us at drunkbiblestudy.com.
I made a memory about your dad.